All right, welcome back, everyone. Make no mistake about it, the vote of confidence for Greece's government is also a vote on the stability of the Eurozone. Some observers say if Greece ends up defaulting, it could be the beginning of the end of the European common currency. How did we get here? It was just a decade ago that Europeans began using the euro. And we now know that Greece lied in order to join the Euro club. Athens had a much bigger budget deficit. It fudged the numbers, and it appears other countries just looked the other way, Germany included. We begin with a look at the origins of the Greek debt crisis, which has become an existential test for the euro.
Rewind 10 years and Athens appeared safe from the financial storm it's caught in today. Greece was happily included in the club of Eurozone countries. The EU had taken Greece's economic statistics at face value, a case of political will overcoming any serious misgivings. In the early years of the euro, the Greek economy boomed, or so it seemed. In 2004, alarm bells went off in Brussels. Eurostat, the EU statistics office, raised doubts about the accuracy of Greece's budget deficit figures, but 5 years passed before anyone took the deficit seriously. In 2006, Greece's sovereign or government debt was 106% of GDP. Debts rose to 160% of GDP in 2010. To put this in context, Eurozone rules limit total government debt to 60%. Greece is now deep in recession with little industrial output. Agriculture and tourism are the only sectors that promise revenue. Its public sector is inefficient and outdated, its tax collection system hopelessly dysfunctional. The international credit rating agencies sharply downgraded Greece in December 2009. Fitch, Standard & Poor's, and Moody's were all skeptical about Athens' ability to pay its debts. It's become ever more expensive for the Greek government to borrow money to stay afloat. Last year, the EU agreed to bail out Greece for the first time. A default was averted with a €110 billion aid package from the EU and IMF. But it came with tough conditions that are seen as too harsh by many Greeks. There have been months of mass strikes and protests against the government's austerity program. Now, Greek Prime Minister George Papandreou is grappling for support for another round of austerity measures and desperately needs cross-parliamentary support.
Let us understand that we are responsible for the future of the country. It is up to us to change the situation, and we are already changing the situation. That is our commitment.
The Eurozone finance ministers have clearly told Greece it won't be receiving any more money unless it makes further cuts and sells off state assets. Without more funding, Greece won't be able to avoid default.
Well, so now we know how the politicians got it all wrong. Now they're frantically trying to fix the problem by asking the Greek public to swallow tax hikes, smaller wages, and fewer social benefits. But how much will the people take? 80% of Greeks say that they are unwilling to make any more sacrifices, especially young people. Nearly half of all people in Greece under the age of 35 cannot find a job, and their prospects look set to get worse.
Life for Antigone Mavromati has not turned out the way she hoped. At 28, she's still living with her parents. She's been unemployed for 3 years, and she gets no financial support from the state. Every morning, the sociology graduate scours the internet looking for jobs, but she can't even find secretarial work.
I've started hiding some of my skills when I apply for jobs so that I don't get labeled as overqualified. I hope that will increase my chances, but it's difficult to take. It's hard to keep thinking positively.
Later, she visits her friend Konstantina Tsikou. It's a rare treat. With no income of her own, Antigone seldom goes out. Konstantina has a degree in physics, but now she works 13-hour shifts 6 days a week in this snack bar. She earns €600 a month, barely enough to make ends meet in Greece. Most young people here are facing similar struggles.
The economic situation has gotten drastically worse for our generation in the past 3 or 4 years. We gave up hope of finding a job in our chosen profession a long time ago. You can't even find cleaning jobs.
Most who are still studying plan to leave Greece after graduation.
Almost everyone moves abroad. When they complete their studies after 4 years, they usually find something in another country. Those who stay have a difficult time of it.
Antigone and Constantina have little hope that things will improve anytime soon. They say the popular protests are not likely to make much of a difference either.
Our country will take a long time to change, if at all. We say one swallow doesn't make a summer. It's going to be a long haul, and we'll have to be patient. We younger people have to fight to change the mindset here. We need systemic changes.
The two young women dream of starting a family one day, but economically, they're unlikely to be in a position to do so anytime soon.
All right, a lot to talk about here. I'm joined now by Professor Erwin Collier. He's an economist here at the John F. Kennedy Institute. Professor Collier, thanks for coming in. Can you understand the frustration of these young Greeks when they talk about their future and when they say that their future maybe would be better if Greece were not in the Eurozone?
Oh, absolutely. But unfortunately, they find themselves not only between a Scylla and Charybdis, there's no wiggle room in between. If they leave the euro and become competitive in exporting, they're going to find that the debt that they have in euros becomes very expensive. If they stay in the euro with austerity policies, the chances of them ever growing out of this in the next generation is next to zero.
I mean, they are really intertwined with the future of Europe, and this vote of confidence in the parliament in Athens, it's about a lot more than just the Greek government and its future, isn't it?
Absolutely. The stakes couldn't be larger. Not only do you have other countries that are in a similar fiscal situation as Greece, so that whatever precedents are set, whatever mistakes are made will lead to speculation, instabilities. But you also have the core financial stability of Europe is at stake. This is very dramatic history.
Can Greece afford to say no to the demands of the IMF, the European Central Bank?
Well, what one also says is bankruptcy is just the start of negotiation. Even if they say no, the problem doesn't go away. There will be new negotiations coming along right after that.
How much of a chance would you say, Professor, Greece has of pulling off this huge spending cut plan the way that Papandreou wants to see it done?
There are two questions. Can they do it, and is it going to help them? I think managing expectations is really important, but it has to be cuts down the road, structural changes in pension systems and the like that don't cut right now and really hurt demand for jobs. But even if they do it, it's still going to be very hard to pay back everything.
But you would say, just very briefly, you would say that they should be able to do it.
Politically, they can do it, but I don't know if I would advise them to.
Okay. Mr. Collier, thank you very much for coming to talk with us. And that has been our in-depth report on the situation in Greece and its debt crisis. I'm Brent Goff in Berlin. As always, thanks for watching and thanks for the company, everybody.